Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Raack Talks, our Sunday seminar series. Today, we have a special session planned for all of you. Okay, so as always, we will start today's event with some amazing performances by our students. Today, we have two students from the Mogappe franchisee of Raack. So to start off, we have Kriti from the junior kids batch. Hi, Kriti, how are you?
I'm fine.
We have Kriti's father also here. Sir, tell us your experience. How would you like to give us your feedback? How is this online experience for you?
Yeah, I think it's the best of both worlds at this point of time in this pandemic. I don't think there is anything better we can do. Being patient and engaging the kids, and I think you guys are doing a good job.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Keep the connection.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. All right. So let's get straight to the performance.
दरवाजे को कुंडी मारो कोई ना बच के जाने पाए डीजे को समझा दो म्यूजिक गलती से भी रुक ना जाए धगा जो फील करे वो जाके दो रेड बुल लटक लो जिसको डांस नहीं करना वो जाके अपनी भैंस चराए
बस आज की रात है कल से वही से अपे है जी भर के नाच लो ना घर वाले ना मापे हैं जब पे अपना राज है डरने की क्या बात है ये तो बस शुरुआत है ये तो बस शुरुआत है
अरे अभी तो पार्टी शुरू हुई है हैंडल आंटी पुलिस बुला लेगी तो यार तेरा कर लेगा हैंडल जन हित में जारी जिसको अपनी जान प्यारी वो फ्लोर
Thank you so much, Kriti. That was awesome. So to keep up the same energy, we have with us Medansh from the senior kid branch of the Mogappe franchisee. Can we please spotlight his video? Hi, Medansh. How are you?
Hello.
So do we have your parent with you? I think your father's here.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, ma'am.
So how is it, sir? I mean, I know this online experience is new for all of us.
It's all new for us, first of all, and I think he's loving it because every day he can go to the classes.
Yeah, it's right at home. I know. It's very convenient. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Well, we're all waiting to see Medansh perform.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Go for it, Medansh. Thank you so much, Medansh. That was brilliant. Thank you so much. Okay, well, it's now time for the main session of the day. So today we have with us Mr. ATB Bose. He is a graduate in engineering from the College of Engineering, Guindy. He is the managing director of Satinut P Limited, a company that specializes in modern modular kitchens, wardrobes, Sealy beds, Siemens appliances, and Alcon office equipment. In 1991, Mr. ATB Bose created a trust in the name of his grandparents and named it Mahamai Ammal Tangappa Nadar Educational Trust. They have the following units, which is Kavi Bharati Vidyalaya, Avvai Academy, Avvai Nunnarivagam. And as an educationalist, he has served as a secretary of various schools in Chennai and Madurai. He has served as the president of a polytechnic in Nagarkoil. He has served as secretary and president of an arts college in Madurai. He has served as secretary and president of College of Education in Nagarkoil and Madurai. The Tamil Nadu Bharat Scouts and Guides District Chief Commissioner of Chennai City for CBSE schools. He is the founder secretary of the Ramanujam Museum and Math Education Center since 1993. He has developed more than 60 math learning instruments, and he has conducted more than 250 math workshops all over India for math teachers. And he has also authored books like the Math Lab Workbook for classes 1 to 10, the math edge course books for classes 1 to 5, etc. So I think we couldn't have anybody else better to explain about the national education policy. Mr. Bose, sir, we are so thrilled to have you here. Over to you, sir.
Good evening to everybody. I thank the Raack Academy uh, and the team to invite me to give a talk on uh, this national education policy. The policy is quite wide and very elaborate. And just within a 2 hour session, we cannot come and go through the entire I mean, whatever the good things are there, or what are things which we feel it is not advisable at this stage are there. I'll just go through some and just few of the um, this national education policy. Mainly I'm going to concentrate on the policy makers are very uh, thoughtful, and they have done a lot of research, uh, and for nearly it has been talking for more than a year, and all the great educationists have put their minds together and they prepared the policy. But there is always a bureaucracy interference in between. If you just go through deeply into each and every chapter and every subchapters of there are totally 8 chapters. I'm going to talk only about school education. There are 8 chapters. In each and every chapter, if you just go through it, you would find a lot of laudable ideas have been put forward by the uh, policymakers. But the bureaucrats, they don't want to leave their control. And that is what is happening in our country. So they have put a lot of checks and balances. I'll also point out that. Now, as I told you, there are many good things in this 21st for the 21st century learners. And I'll just point out there are about 22 points. The most important is they have understood that good education institution is one in which every student feels welcomed, for where a safe and stimulating learning environment exists. Now that is what many parents wish to have. They pointed out that, and then they say they have the fundamental principles. One is recognizing, identifying, and fostering the unique capabilities of each student, sensitizing teachers as well as parents. They are not only focused on children, they are also focused on teachers as well as parents to promote each student's holistic development. They are talking about holistic development in both, not only in academic, also on non-academic spheres. According to the highest priority to achieving a foundation literacy, numeracy to all students by grade 3. Now, if you take overall all over India, I don't know how many of you know about it. There is a organization called Pratham. Every year they conduct a survey all over India, and their finding is grade children cannot read even grade 1 book. It may be in any language, it may be in Tamil or English or Hindi, whatever it is, they are not able to learn, and they are not able to do simple addition and subtraction. That is why they wanted to give focus on up to grade. And then flexibility, so that the learners have the ability to use their learning trajectory. But now, you know, in our school system, we don't have the choice. But here they are trying to give those choice. Uh, and they say no hard separation between science and between curricular and extracurricular activities. They are going to blend everything together. And they wanted a multidisciplinary and holistic education across the science, social science, arts, humanities, and sports. So the child can choose whichever the child is good at it. Emphasis on conceptual understanding rather than rote learning. You know, all our exam systems promote only rote learning. So they have understood the problem. They are trying to address that also. Then we don't have creativity or critical thinking. Learning is given to our school students. Here, they wanted to have that critical thinking and creativity, and most important, logical decision making. Now, both in schools, in colleges, we don't emphasize on decision making. So you know that a successful person will be able to the one who makes a logical decision. If he makes a good logical decision. Now, ethics and human constitutional values, which was there in our system, is being slowly eroded by our school system. They want to bring everything back together. Then they want to promote multilingualism and the power of language in teaching. So they don't stick on to only any one language. They wanted multilingualism. Then life skills such as communication, cooperation, teamwork, and resilience. You all know that we Indians are very good at individual excellence. We will be very good as an individual. But when it comes to teamwork, we fail. So they have pointed out those things and they wanted to bring that in school education. Then focus on regular formative assessment for learning rather than the summative, rather than having a exam at the end of the year. They wanted to bring in the formative assessment. It was brought in CBC, but after some time it was withdrawn. And they wanted to do away with coaching culture. Then extensive use of technology in teaching. Now during this COVID, every teacher has become a tech savvy and they are using technology. Now respect for diversity and respect for the local content in the all curriculum. Always keep in mind that education in a concurrent subject and full equity and inclusion as the cornerstone of all education decisions, that all students are able to thrive in the education system. Synergy uh, uh, p- uh, in curriculum across all levels of education from early childhood and education to school education to higher education. Teachers and faculty as the heart of the learning process, uh, and they're going to focus more on that. And a light and but tight regulatory framework. So now we have only tight framework. Now they wanted to make it light as well as tight. So let us see how they really achieve that. Then outstanding research they want to bring in. Then continuous review of progress based on sustained research and assessment of by educational experts. Then rootedness and pride of India. They wanted to bring back the pride of India. Education is a public service, so access to quality education must be given to every child. And substantial investment in a strong, vibrant public education system. Our public education system is a total failure. Even after 74 years of independence, how our government schools are there. They want to address them. Ultimately, they wanted to assess the learning outcome of every child. Again, that is not done in our school education system. We only test the memory skill. We don't test the learning outcome. So these are the broad outline which they have, all the experts have put into it. How now they are going to go in for how they are going to implement those things. Now the aspiration goals are really high, but the big question is implementation. How it going to be implemented? Now, as I told you, this seems that there's a tussle between policymakers and bureaucrats. Now, at this meeting, I'm trying to expose those things so that the policymakers will understand and try to make any changes. And more importantly, anything that comes into a country, there are activities. Now, in this case, educational activities, they mislead public. They say this is wrong, this is wrong, not right. So now it is time that you youngster, many of you are youngsters or all educated, you have to understand what is the genuinity of the this NEP 20 and try to educate people if anything negative comes. The very first thing they said early childhood care. Now they have that brought in pre-KG, LKG and UKG and they termed as ECCE. Now, earlier, we were admitting our children only in age 5 uh, in class 1. And now, since they bring pre-KG as 3 years, now in class 1, we have to admit them only at age 6. And this is a very, very good decision. Though RT said 6 years, but we were not following it. But one thing what we have to do is we should ask them to, we should recommend them to fix the date at what date the child is eligible to get admitted in grade 1 or maybe pre-KG. So it should be 30th June throughout our country. Of course, in our country, there will be a lot of exceptions. நம்ம போய் சிஓ பார்த்தா they will give exemption even for for 5 or 6 months also. That should not happen. So it should be rigid. This should be very rigid. Of course, children born about 11 months difference will be there. That can't be avoided. Now they are going to frame a curriculum for early childhood education. Do you think a curriculum is required for early childhood education, that is pre-KG, LKG, UKG? I just want your feedback, please. Sandhya, if they want, they can give their feedback, please.
Yes, sure.
What is your opinion about this?
Um, Parents, if there's any question you want to ask right now, you can ask.
No, I just want an opinion about that.
Okay,
Creating a framework and curriculum for pre-KG, LKG, and UKG.
okay, sir.
If nobody is there, okay, somebody has raised a hand.
And
Yeah, me.
yes, ma'am. Please. Can I know your name, ma'am? Sir, few of the.
Okay, we'll proceed. Uh,
Okay.
now, what I feel, no, it should not be there. There should not be any curriculum, because once we have a curriculum, and every teacher, every school, and every parent will insist that. Now, even now, we feel that if a school doesn't complete, or a teacher doesn't complete one page of the textbook, immediately the parent go and complain, oh, you have not completed this. Now, there is a misconception in our country that textbook is the syllabus and curriculum, so that we have to meticulously complete from page 1 to the last page. Now they have to understand that textbook is not a syllabus or curriculum. The textbook will be written by one or two or three authors. Whatever the knowledge they have gained, or whatever the ideas have, that has been transformed into the textbooks. Again, they'll be guided by the publishers. So that is not knowledge. They have to go beyond the textbook. So since that culture is in within our Indian minds, I feel we should not have any curriculum for the lower classes. They should be free to play and explore. Now, I feel that mother is the best teacher to provide it. Mother is the first and best teacher to provide it. So the best solution is to give subsidy to mothers. They may be working mothers or somebody. You pay subsidy to them to stay home and look after the children. So that is the best way. So the child will get better care and better education than having a fixed curriculum and going to a school or Anganwadi or whatever it may be. So I feel that will be the best thing, and many developed countries are following this, and it'll be much cheaper also than creating. They wanted to create more Anganwadis. It'll be very difficult for them to monitor Anganwadis. Now, in earlier government, in 1968, the first NEP came. It was brought by Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. The second NEP was brought by our former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. They had a lot of target for ECC, but nothing worked out. Everything the targets was there, it was there. So right from 1968 to 2020, the target has been not achieved. So I don't know how well this will be. But why I wanted it is, I just wanted to have a small thing. I'm going out of the education. In early 90s, 60s, I don't know, some of the elders, if you are here, you know that modern bread, first modernized bread factory was established in Chennai, and they wanted to market that bread. And they say they are going to take total control of the market. About 90 to 100% of the market will be ours. But they miserably failed. You know why they failed? They didn't anticipate. They thought somebody else will come with the modern plant and they are going to be the competitor. No, that was not their competitor. The first competitor was small bakeries, because these breads, modern breads, it was manufactured, and by the time it is packed and delivered to various distribution channel, when it comes to the customer, minimum it takes 2 days. So actually, it is not a fresh bread. But if you go to the bakery, every day they make a fresh bread. So that smell and the softness was so when everybody opted for small bakeries than for this modern bread. The second thing is that you can see that people are selling idlis on the platform. Thus hot idlis became one more competitor because most of the bread was used only for breakfast. Now breakfast idli came as a competitor, and the next you can also they also had appam also became a competitor. So that is how they miserably failed. So what this points out is our strength is edupreneurs, small edupreneurs. Now we have to develop them. Now, most of our 50% of our GDP is only contributed by unorganized small entrepreneurs only. It may be a street vendor. I'm talking this not only in food, in any item. It is all given by the small entrepreneurs only. So why not we develop entrepreneurs in the education system also? So there are a lot of young ladies who wanted to start a preschool. A lot of play schools are run effectively run by them. So we have to encourage them. We can provide them short per certificate course instead of providing a fixed curriculum. We can provide them some short certificate course, and we can tell them strictly you are not supposed to provide air condition. Now air condition became as a norm in many schools. It should not be there, and then provide simple guidelines to set up a center in natural environment. So it's all the guidelines must be very simple. But now, as I said, the regulatory bureaucracy comes in. They have recently released a National Commission for Protection of Child Rights guidelines to set up this uh, standalone in pre-primary schools. This will definitely kill all young entrepreneurs. It has to be removed. Then they have to encourage to develop simple learning and aids and give the thrust for Make in India. A lot of young engineers and other developers are there. They can ask them to develop good teaching aids. Now, there's a standalone preschool. Government can give free play materials, and they can also allow them to collect fees commensurate with the facilities provided. The parents are the best judge to decide whether, okay, this school is a preschool is asking this fees means is it really worth? Because they will see the environment, they will see the infrastructure, they will see the person who's running the things. So they are the best judge. Then how to cope up with the cost? So we as to government instead of setting their own Anganwadis, they can provide vouchers to those parents who want to put it in the certified standalone preschools. So they need not pay any fees to the these small preschools. Depending upon certain things, parameters, they have to fix the fees, whatever it is, and give vouchers directly to the parent, which will be transferable to the center. So the center will not have a problem that they are not getting the fees. They're going to get the fees, and if they don't take care of the children, the parent has option to move to the another center. Anybody wanted to have any say on this?
Parents may request you to type in a chat box whatever you want to say on it.
So one point of view, sir.
Yes.
How it will help from a parent's perspective on this, sir? Because it may help for the preschool, but from a parent perspective, how these policies may help? If you can
See one
share
thing.
that.
Now, even the pre-KG, LKG, UKG, we send them to schools. The schools are not located very close by. Now, when we look for good infrastructure, we may have to send them. So most of our parents, we send them by van or bus, and the children have to get up early, travel, and then come back tired. Now, all these things can be avoided if there is a preschool nearby. Now, the only thing you're going to see the same environment as a parent, going to see the same environment, whether it is there in that. If you're willing, you're going to put it there. There will be we are going to recommend a standalone thing in the school also, but it will help them, and you are not going to pay for it. The government is going to pay for it.
but I'm just asking a practical challenge. This has recently happened for one of my friend's kid. He's really searching for admission in a preschool.
Mm.
It's a very famous school in OMR,
Mm.
and they had an interview, and the kid is not able to select, and so he put his kid in a nearby preschool. When he applied after for 2 years or 3 years, the school again denied that the seats are full, and so there is
Now,
an environment today we are living is
no, no,
the
no.
expectation.
So
Yeah.
sorry, sir. We are searching for schools.
Yes.
Now, by this, as I'm telling you, edupreneurs, young educated mothers are going to run these small centers.
Okay.
As mothers, they will have to put more care than those schools which are going to be attached along with the school, because they have from preschool to plus two, and they have more other things to concentrate. Of course, they give priority to the kids, but you'll be avoiding traveling by sending your child, to such a distance. Uh, that physical exercise may not be done to the young children. They can go to any school nearby. If you're going to select, there'll be more and more in each and every corner. More such schools will come. You're going to choose, and
Choose.
so I think that will be the much best. But
The
of
supply
course,
is going to be high. Can I understand it in that way? So the supply of preschools will be very high in this policy.
yeah, yeah. See, earlier when they were allowed private schools to come up, you didn't have so many choices. You have first had government school, then you had aided schools, and then matriculation schools came. Then CBSE, ICC. Now you have so many choices of schools there. There's so many. Same way you will have choices to choose. Okay, but let's assume that is going to happen in a better way. Okay. They are restricting the school education. Now, what we have at present is 5 years of primary and 3 years of middle and to 2 years of high school, that is ninth and 10th, then 2 years of plus one, plus two. Now they are going to restructure it. They're going to have 5 years as fundamental stages. That consists of 3 years of preschool and 2 years of one and two. Then again 3 years of primary. Then 3 years of middle. They are not changing it, but they are making the combining ninth, 10th, 11th, and 12th together, and they're going to break it as ninth and 10th one's group, and plus one and plus two as one group, and 4 years. So this is the structure they have brought in. So according to this structure, a child will enter the preschool, and it is not very clear after the 3 years of pre-KG, LKG, UKG, whether the standalone preschool will be allowed to start one and two, or they have to go to only main school. If they're going to go to main school, why separate them? Now that is the question. So 5 years of primaries, as an educationalist, I know 5 years of primary 1 to 5 has to be intact. We need 5 years, and only when more details are brought in, how they are going to club one and two. Uh, we will not able to comment much on that. Let's hope they don't disturb that 1 to 5 primary. And we feel as an educationalist that 6, 7, 8, that 3 years of middle is too short, because you will find most children when they go to class 9, their education level drops. That is because all in mathematics, science, and all the specialties, everything, there is a sudden jump from 8th to ninth. So they have a doubt, a drop in their level of education. And there is no much time for teachers to consolidate so that they are ready for high school. So we suggest it should be, but they should make the higher secondary as 4 years, because now the higher secondary just 2 years. Now 2 years again from 10th to 11th, there is again huge jump in all the subjects. The children are not ready to take that. Now, because our examination patterns are rote memory, they somehow memorize and go through the things. Now, when I conduct workshops, maths workshops for teachers, I used to ask them. Because generally, immediately after the board exam, any maths board exam, teachers will call all those children whom they feel they have scored 100 out of 100. They will ask the answer and I give the marks, and they will identify who are the children who are going to get 100 out of 100. Mostly, their prediction will be 100% correct. I used to ask them, can you guarantee? Suppose after the board exam of 10th, mathematics is the last board exam, give them 1 week holiday, call them back, give them the same question paper. Will they able to score 100 out of 100? You'll be surprised to hear. I've asked teachers all over India, right from in Guwahati to this side Jabalpur, or in the central Indore, or in Jammu, in Kanyakumari, everywhere. Every teacher say no, they can't guarantee. Then what is the purpose of education, especially in mathematics? Mathematics is whatever you have learned, you have to able to apply. That means you'll be able to recall. Now, when you say your child within 1 week or 10 days, if the child is not able to recall and answer again, that means there is something wrong in our education. So the child will be able to again score 100 only if they re-stuff back into their mouth. It is something like that. They have vomited everything. A child who has vomited everything, you can't ask the child to vomit again. That's not possible. Maybe if the child is vomited only 50%, the child may be able to vomit the balance 50%. When the child has vomited 100%, you can't, the child will not be able to vomit again. Again, you have to stuff in the mouth. That is how our education system is there. That is why we felt 9th, 10th, and 11th to be together. Okay, that is good. Instead of that, move this 9th to back down to middle school. So that 6, 7, 8, 9 will be the 4 years. 5 years of primary, 4 years of middle, then 3 years of higher secondary. Now, we thought that will be the better structure. This is what we are recommending. We don't know how many people are going to agree on that, whether they're going to change it, because they have already gone through the process. This suggestion was given to us through our CBC School Association even last year itself. And I had a chance to meet Mr. M.K. Sridhar, one of the senior most member of the committee in Bangalore. I explained to him. He said, yes, that may be a good possibility. Let's think over, but it is not done. Now here, as I told you, bureaucracy comes into it. And there are a lot of activities also, so-called educational activities. They also give something. They don't fully read and understand. Now just read the key stage. Census assessment in class 3, 5, and 8. And again, they will have some vocational training also. Now for this, in class 6, 7, 8, you might have seen this video. I just wanted to play it again for you to get your mind refreshed. Just see this.
சரி சார். அப்போ இப்போ முன்னாடி நம்ம தமிழ்ல ஒரு அழகான ஒரு வாக்கியம் ஒன்று இருக்கும், கைத்தொழில் ஒன்றை கத்துக்கொள் அப்படின்னு. அப்போ ஒரு எக்ஸ்ட்ரா கரிக்குலரா ஒரு விஷயத்தை கத்துக்கிறது நல்லது தானே மாணவர்களுக்கு?
இந்த பேட்டி அப்படியே நீங்க என்கிட்ட கேட்கறதுக்கு பதிலாக கீழே இறங்கி போய் அங்க இரும்ப பத்த வச்சு ஜன்னல் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கிறாரு, அவர்கிட்ட போய் கேட்டுருங்களேன். என்னையே கேக்குறீங்க? ஏங்க, உன் புள்ள 8ஆம் கிளாஸுக்குள்ள ஒரு தொழில் கத்துக்கிறது நல்லது தானேங்கன்னு போய் அவர்கிட்ட கேளுங்க, என்ன செய்யறாருன்னு பாத்துருவோம். இந்த தெருவுக்கு முனையில செருப்பு தச்சிட்டு இருக்கிற அவர்கிட்ட மைக் எடுத்துட்டு போங்க சார். என்கிட்ட ஏன் சார் கேக்குறீங்க? உன் புள்ள 8ஆம் கிளாஸ் படிக்கிறதுக்குள்ள 10ஆம் கிளாஸ் முடிக்கிறதுக்குள்ள ஒரு தொழிலை கற்று தேர்வது நல்லது தானேயா அப்படின்னு கேளுங்க. அவர் சொல்லட்டும், ஆமா என் தொழில் கற்று தேர்வது நல்லதுதான் சொல்லட்டும். காலங்காலமா நான் ஏன் செருப்பு தச்சிட்டு இருக்கிறேன்றத கண்டுபிடுறா. என் தாத்தா ஏன்டா படிக்க முடியல, எங்க அப்பா ஏன்டா படிக்க முடியல, நான் ஏன்டா படிக்க முடியல, அதை கண்டுபிடிச்சு சமத்துவமான சமூகம் அடுத்த தலைமுறை எல்லோரும் படிக்கணும், அதற்கான போராட்டத்தை நடத்துடா, அதை கத்துக்க போடான்னு சொல்றதுதான் ஒரு பெற்றோருடைய, ஒரு உழைக்கிற பெற்றோருடைய.
See, actually, Mr. Gajendra wrongly interpret the words. There is absolutely no exam to test the vocational skills in grades 6 to 8. Now, what the policy says is that every child should undergo one day in a month as a bagless day. They are not going to bring in any bag to the school. In that day, they will get exposed to some kind of local craft. It may be pottery, it may be weaving, or it may be carpentry, or it may be anything else. So they want that child to get exposed. Now that can be done either by bringing those craftsmen people to the school, so that one day children will have that bagless day. It may not be for all the school, but for few classes that school can plan, or they can go to that craft center and get exposed. So there is no any assessment for this type of the craft learning. It is only they're going to observe. Maybe if it is pottery, children can have an hands-on experience. So this is all things. They're going to learn mathematics, science, in all those things. Everything, there's application is there. So the teacher can explain how the craftsman applies what they have been taught in maths or science or any other subject for matter. So what is wrong in it? But when we project it wrongly, naturally the parents are going to have fear. So please, I want everybody to understand this. Now, do you think what Mr. Rajendra Babu said is right, or what the policy has given will be helpful to the children? Okay, we'll do it this way. Now, how many of you support Mr. Gajendra Babu? Raise your hands, please. Just raise your hands. You can use the option to raise your hands and say how many of you support Mr. Gajendra Babu. Any one of you can say why?
Sir, can I speak?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yes. So I heard the complete, not the clippings you showed now. I saw the entire clipping of Mr. Prince Gajendra Babu. The point is, when we speak about vocational courses, we are restricting only to simple courses and not the complex. I mean, the courses which are non how to say that, the regular courses, which is more modern nowadays. Even those can be taught in classes like coding, all these things. But we are restricting only to sewing or carpentry.
They are not
Because
saying
that is what doll making. Even today, the Prime Minister was speaking about doll making, tangible doll making. I hope you're hearing me.
Yeah, Mr. Andrew. Now I'm talking about what Prime Minister speaks that will legislate. What is there in black and white is it is only 10 days of bagless schooling. During that time, the school has to provide
No, sir. The
anything
policy does not speak about the only 10 days. The policy speaks about choosing a vocational course also from 9th standard.
Yeah, I'll come to that. Now we are talking about only up to 6 to 8. I'll come to that vocational course later. Now, this projection is only for where Mr. Prince Kajadaba says, how can a 6 to 8 child can learn
No. Prince Gajendra sir was speaking about the vocational education that comes after 9th standard. I saw the full video.
Okay. We'll come to that also. Later he talks about that. Now,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
But this is what the policy says. Now we will give a recommendation. What we are going to give a recommendation is let the center create some safe and learning environment craft centers. Let them have craft centers in each block. So the schools can take the children on bagless day. The school can take the children to
Yes,
that
sir.
center.
That already we have, sir, in our class. I remember I was stitching. I was doing crafts in my class. It was already existing. It was not something new. It was already existing.
Yeah, it is there in schools, sir. Even in government school, even today they have. There are teachers who have been paid for that. But unfortunately, since the government doesn't give any maintenance grant, the equipments are not working and they are just idle. Now that is for higher class. This is only for, I'm talking about 6, 7, 8. Now we'll move on. Now, how this has been framed. So 3 years of foundation and 2 years of preparatory, 3 years of primary and 3 years of middle. Then in high, they call it as high school. They don't call it as higher secondary, 9, 10, 11. And they're going to have census exams. Now, census exams, what is a census exam? They want to assess the learning outcome. So to assess the learning outcome, what they are going to do, they have not given the full details how they are going to conduct it. It is actually a school exam, and how they are going to collect the data, how they are going to analyze. Now those things has to come later. Now when they call it a census exam, it is not a board exam. It is only a school exam, and for 3, 5, and 8, and ninth to 12th, they are bringing in semester. We don't know how far it is going to be helpful. Now, ninth, the child has to write 2 semesters, 10th, 1 semester, and board exam, one board exam. That is the present 10th. Then 11th, 2 semesters, and 12th, 1 semester, and one board exam. Now, this is the structure. And I have given the age also at what age they are going to write. Now, they're going to have a census exam at grade 3. One age census, then at grade 5, that is at the age of 10, then at the age of 13, one more census exam. At ninth, they're going to do 2 semesters, 10th, 1 semester, 11th, 2 semester, 12th, 1 semester, then one board exam in 10th and one board exam in 12th. So totally, including census, there are about 11 exams what the child has to do. Now, that's a as I told you earlier, whenever it is a census exam, both parents and teachers, they will take it up very seriously, and they will make children their life miserable. They say the result of the census exam will not be given out. It is only for their study, but still it is conducted in exams, and we don't know how far it is going to be controlled. So we have to understand whether it is possible to control the leakage of the marks to the parents. Now they say additional things. So on total, they are going to write up 24 subjects. Now, certain subjects they may be doing on the higher level also, or if they wanted to choose individual, they can do up to 24 subjects, and they're going to write 3 semesters every year. That is, I'm talking about ninth to 12th. And in lieu of, they are not going to have regular annual exams. So they say they have about 40 plus semester courses. We can choose for them. Again, there are people who argue how to write for 40 days. These are available courses. School can choose whatever they wanted. It is not going to be the things. And we are really don't know whether the semester exams are going to be board exams, or again it is a school exam. Now, but these are the subjects what we offer right now in primary and in mid and 6th to 10th. It may vary from a few subjects from school to school. In general, this is the common thing that we do it, and there is no change in it. And from 9th to 12th, now they have given, I've just listed 14 topics. There are more, as they say, they have about 40 plus topics and subjects that have been given, and they have specified the minimum number of semesters they have to write. For instance, maths, they have to write 2 semesters. Science, they have to write 2 semesters. Occasional, they have to write 2 semesters. If the child wants to, or the school want to provide more than 1 semester or 2 semesters, they can do it. But this is the general guideline they are given. So I have just given a rough framework. Suppose a school chooses mathematics and physics, computer, thinking, physical education, vocational, basic languages, and give one in all the 4 semesters. It is possible. Or if they want, they can discontinue mathematics and chemistry in the 11th and 12th grade, stop at only up 10th. So there are so many options are there for schools to explore. It is not a fixed thing. What we have, okay, first group they're going to have, second group like that. So they are allowing them to explore and do it. It's going to be a very big task. How schools are going to blend. If in the same locality, instead of having the same groups everywhere, where some children may not like to go to that group, now here they have if another school give another choice, it is a welcoming thing is going to be there. Now they say in semesters, if they want to, if they fail or if they want to upgrade their level, 2 times they can write the exams again. Now, as I said, when it is not clear whether it is a board exam, If they fail in any one thing, how they are going to promote to the next class? That's the big question is there. Unless they give the clarity, we cannot discuss much on that. Now, this is the existing design. So LKG, UKG, pre-KG, we have 3 years, and we have 1 and 2 to preparatory is there, 3 to 5 primary is there, 6 to 8 middle is there, 9 to 10 high school is there. This is the present thing. The only thing is immediately after writing a 10th exam, within 2 years, they're going to write the 12th exam. That is why we suggest we should have it. And of course, you see, in the Tamil Nadu government, state government, we have so many choices. But the only thing is, you can't mix up certain things. But the present NEP, you can go on mixing it. I can take mathematics and I can do history also. If the child wants, the child can take mathematics and history also. But in the present system, it is not possible because it is grouped as science group, commerce group, and vocational group. Now, we have so many vocational group in Tamil Nadu education. Unfortunately, not all schools are providing all the choices. Very few choices are there. Now, this is what the suggested design, which I said, foundation 3 years, preparatory 3 years, and 4 years of middle, and 3 years of uh, um, high school. Now, in there, they are going to write only 8 exams, and the first exam will be only for census exam will be on grade 5, and the next exam will be a board exam in 9th standard. Now, 9th standard, now because they have first standard is not 5 years, it is 6 years. The same 10th standard, what children at the same age, they'll be writing the 9th board exam. And they'll have to only for 4 semesters, 5 semesters, and only 2 board exams. There is a spacing of so many years of in between. From the first census exam from the to the next board exam, they have nearly 4 years, and then another board exam, they have another 3 years. Now, if you compare what is the proposed NEP and what we are suggesting, you can see the difference. What is the difference is there? And more or less, it has been the proposal has been finalized. We don't know whether they're going to have any say against it. Now, in this, instead of 24, the child can maximum can write only 18. If they want, they can write more, but it will be restricted. Now, they talk about the board examination. Now, as I told you, for each and every problem, what we are facing, this NEP has deeply studied those things. It has deeply studied those things, and they wanted to do away with this coaching culture. For that, they have given a lot of money. We don't know how far it's going to be workable. As I told you, if the child failed in all the semesters, it will be something like in engineering colleges, students coming out with lots of arrears in semesters. So a lot of clarity has to come. Only when the clarity comes, you'll be able to understand this much better. Now, as per our suggestion, if they write the board exam in 9th, the age will be more or less both what they are doing it right now, and they can go to a secondary course of 3 years, 12th, and write 12th board exam, or they can do IIT. Now, IIT 2 years is not sufficient. They are not learning anything. It can be made to 3 years, and diploma courses which can be made to 4 years instead of 3 years. So now these are all just our suggestions. Now we come to the vocational. Now the vocational, they wanted to have a well-defined version. What is the problem they had? They have also studied that. Now what is that they have studied is, they don't have a well-defined pathways to continue further. And they also have understood that children have an inferior complex when they take a vocational course. They feel that students who are in the mainstream are more capable than in vocational. So they have fully understood this problem. That is why we hope that something will be done which will not be there. Now this is about the backless things I said. Now this vocational is not new to us. The vocation was first suggested by Kothari Commission in 1966. Then they should have occasional as the things. And the first NEP was brought forward by our former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. They said they should have it in the secondary stage. That secondary stage is eighth. I mean, in fact, elementary is up to eighth, secondary is ninth and tenth. You should have it in ninth and tenth itself. Now again, in the NEP, the second NEP brought in by our former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, he also advocated that after the 8th standard, they should study some vocational groups. And as I told you, even till date, in government schools and government aided schools, there are vocational courses from ninth upwards. That is plus one, plus two vocational is totally different. These type of craft oriented vocational is still there. Weaving is there, carpentry is there. Like that, there are many things are available. I gave a lot of details how many vocational are available. That is for plus one, plus two. Now, in this, again, they are bringing the same thing. They are not giving anything extra. Now, in the second NEP, nearly 120 vocational courses were identified and given. That time, our Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao was the MHRD minister. He has suggested 120 vocational courses. Now, the same thing I think they're going to implement, or they may add something more. Maybe just for an example, you would have said doll making, but there are so many choices because that is already there in the second NEP. And I don't know how many of you know about Dr. H.S. Lawrence. He was director of school education, and he introduced again more than 100 vocational courses in Tamil Nadu at the plus string, and he wanted to make every school to have a vocational course. So he said for every four section, one must be a vocational. There is no choice. You can't have all only mainstream. You should have one vocational. So he is called father of vocational education in Tamil Nadu. But unfortunately, after his retirement, whatever the guidelines he has made, it is all floated because there was a demand for certain groups, and every school opted for that group instead of vocational. Now they say two vocational semesters they have to write, but is it mandatory? It is not clear. Now, if it is optional, again the same thing will happen. What Dr. H.S. Lawrence brought, when he made it mandatory, it was there. When that mandatory was removed, no vocational course was provided by most of the private schools. So unless they make it compulsory, nothing is going to happen. Now coming to the medium of instruction. Now again, this was expressed by Kothari Commission only. And they also quoted Charles Wood's quote in 1857. Now this is debatable things. Now what you, many parents here, what is your opinion about teaching in mother tongue in up to class 5? Any opinion on this, please?